Hi, hello everybody, my name is RainerFalls and I'm an Ancient Fae storyteller VTuber, and today we're going to talk about Genshin Impact reactions. In Genshin Impact there are a variety of different elements, although up until about a year and a half ago we didn't actually have Dendro. That was an element that haunted everybody on the title screen, and the only character that was a confirmed Dendro character was Baiju from Boo Boo Pharmacy in Liyue, but we never got to actually use him until Sumeru came out in 3.0. That being said, there are 7 core elements in Genshin Impact, with a few hidden ones that we think exist later on, but that's for another video. There is Anemo, the Nation of Freedom, which has Venti as their Archon, and there's Geo, which is Liyue, which is the Nation of Contract and Money, which is ruled by Morax or Zhongli, who no longer is Zhongli. And then there is Inazuma, which is run by the Raiden Shogun, who is the Archon, and that's Electro, and that is electricity, obviously. And then we have Sumeru, which is the land of Dendro, which is Sumeru, the nation of wisdom and, studies. And then there is Fontaine, which is the nation of justice, which is Hydro. We just recently got Natlan, which is the nation for Pyro or Fire, which has that Mavuika, who is the Archon for that. And I forgot to mention the Fontaine Archon, which is Farina, or was Farina. Play the story and it'll make more sense. And then lastly, we have Snezhnaya, which is the nation that has not been released quite yet, and all we know is that the Tsaritsa is the Cryo Sovereign, or the Ice Queen. Elsa vibes, anybody? That being said, each of these element reactions work with each other to cause different reactions, except for 2 of them, which only have 1 reaction in the game. Geo and Anemo only have 1 reaction each. Anemo swirls other elements like Hydro, or Pyro, or even Cryo together to create reactions for swirl, which is great for grouping and hitting enemies all at once, but that's all it does. It doesn't really do anything else. That being said, it's great for challenge videos. If you don't want to use a specific element, you can swirl things with Anemo and light up electro monuments and other things like that. It's pretty nice for that. And then Geo, which only has 1 reaction for everything, and that's Crystallize. It just makes shards of whatever element you hit it with, and it gives you a temporary shield that helps deflect some damage, which isn't exactly super useful, but Geo does have some pretty good DPS units like Navia and Ito, so you can't forget that. Moving on, we have Cryo, which is one of the very first reactions we get, which is Freeze. Anything that interacts with Hydro freezes it or creates a bridge of ice. They actually teach you that in the tutorial, where you have to use Kaya to ice bridge, like Elsa across the water. And then there is Cryo and Electro, which is Super Conduct. And then there's also Cryo and Pyro, and that creates Melt. And then there is Shatter, which is like if after an opponent is frozen and you break it with a Claymore, it creates Shatter. But that's not something I see typically used. Obviously, then we move on to Pyro. Pyro can mix with Pyro and Hydro, which makes Vaporize. Then there's also Pyro and Dendro, which is Burgeon or Burning. And then there's also Pyro and Electro, which is Overloaded. And those are the ones that are kind of like the key ones that I've seen. Then there is Hydro, which again we've talked about. Hydro, Electro, and Dendro together create Hyper Bloom, one of the best and most powerful reactions in the game, in my opinion. It does so much damage. And then lastly, we have Dendro, but not least, Dendro creates Bloom, which is Hydro and Dendro together, which creates these little cores on the ground. There is one character, Kave, who can absorb these cores and heal himself. Everyone else gets damaged by them. It also creates Burgeon or Burning, which is super powerful. And of course, Hyper Bloom, like we talked about before. Those are just the basic reactions, and each of these you can use with your characters. And combining elements is super important in the game. Now there is another element we can talk about, and it's physical damage. Nobody really builds physical damage characters anymore, as it's not a great meta, but it is an opportunity and you can build them if you feel like it, but it doesn't really do as much damage because the game is focused around elemental reactions. Anyways, that's just me explaining some of the elemental reactions and how the systems work if you didn't understand it. The next video is going to be how to build characters, what do talents do, and what sort of artifacts you should put on what characters. If you liked this type of video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!